Kim Kelley. Hey there. What's your website, Kim?
DigitalDefendersUnited.org. I actually just posted an article, and it's a summary of the investigation that the DOJ and NCMEC, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, they did an entire investigation on PornHub and all those different platforms. And it's really interesting because not only were no violations found, so no criminal activity, no illegal content, but it's an interesting comparison of what was found in those investigations compared to other tech giants like Meta and all these other platforms that are totally public. So it's an interesting summary I want people to check out. It's on DigitalDefendersUnited.org.
Man, I love the type of pressure that they're putting on people like Meta because they're doing the right things. That is a beautiful thing. Yeah, my name's Dan Reaves, and it's a pleasure to be with you this morning. We got a guest coming on right now, but we'll open these phone lines up right after this conversation. Very important conversation. I want you to pay attention to this. You know Kim Kelley by now, and you know the heavy lifting she does. You know that she don't come in talking about protecting children. She actually does the heavy lifting in trying to protect these children. Yeah, right off the get, you say, well, she definitely is not a politician. That's right. Also joining us, along with Kim Kelley this morning, is Soloman Friedman, one of the owners of PornHub. Now, I know, here you go. What are you doing, Reaves, trying to shoehorn that in? Well, let me tell you why. Obviously, sex sells in this country. Don't know if you heard about that. It's not a fad. This is a business. Soloman Friedman's one of the owners. He's got a family. He's got children. And it's a good business, and they've implemented, and they're on the cutting edge of protecting children. This is for adults, not for kids. And it's not for adults that want to exploit children. And Soloman and his company, PornHub, have actually went out and built and implemented the solution to provide digital safety. Their goal is to eradicate child sex material on the internet. And Kim Kelley and Soloman Friedman join us this morning. Soloman, good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks so much for having me.
Thanks for what you're doing. And Kim Kelley, thank you for what you're doing.
Oh, absolutely. It's an honor to work with people that are truly part of the solution. It's an unconventional approach, but it's one that we must take in order to not only come together, but to work together for solutions. So, Dan, thank you for having us.
Soloman, I'll be honest with you. The extent of what I've done this morning is trying to decide where I'm going to land for lunch. And am I going to cheeseburger or just scorched earth chicken nuggets? What you're doing and what you guys are implementing at PornHub with this digital solution, tell us about it. Give us all the details of the cutting edge and why you're doing it.
Yeah, so it starts with a commitment to trust and safety, and those aren't just words for us. What that means is ensuring that this platform is not only not complicit in exploiting children and any vulnerable people, but is actually at the forefront of fighting against that. And how do we do that? So the first thing we do is we verify the identity of anyone who wants to upload content to the site. So it's not like a Facebook or a Twitter where anyone can just make an anonymous account. It requires real verification using, cutting-edge computer technology and human moderation to verify the identity, the age, and the consent. And if similar platforms would do that, there would be far less abusive material online. But it actually goes beyond that. Because besides verifying the age, identity, and consent of anyone uploading content, no content appears live on the platform until, first of all, it is scanned by a whole host of computer tools, but then every piece of content is human moderated. And when I say that, people get surprised because they know there's a lot of content out there. Every piece of content is moderated by humans. And in addition, the last step of that is that every single piece of content must be accompanied with the age, ID, and consent of anyone appearing in the content, right? Like, and this is an enormous amount of work. It's a very, very high bar to set. But, as far as the company is concerned, we have a responsibility to protect online. And what we really want to do is to be an example for the rest of the Internet to follow. Because if others would follow in our footsteps, and if others would take these same steps, the Internet would be a much safer place for young people.
Solomon, why do you think it is that these other tech giants are not following your lead on this? You don't have to get after them if you don't want to, but I think it's embarrassing. Have you ever tried to reach a human being at Meta? Because it ain't going to happen. You're talking about real human beings with your company, with PornHub, that monitor this. I've not reached a human being, and I've tried, believe me, at Meta, at Facebook. So why do you think they're not following suit and following your example?
I think it's really easy for your mainstream Internet technology companies to sort of point the finger at the porn industry. The porn industry is often the whipping boy for the Internet. If there's a problem, we blame porn. If something's going wrong, we blame porn. The trouble is that approach isn't working anymore, because as companies like ours are starting to speak out and be vocal, we're not scared of the stigma anymore of being associated with adults. We want to tell the truth in public. And the more we're speaking out publicly and working with organizations like Digital Defenders, speaking to folks like you and your vast audience, the more it's becoming apparent that the problem isn't porn. This is an Internet-wide problem, and we need to look to solutions from all corners. So, I like to focus on the positive, and that is we have set out a blueprint for the rest of the Internet to follow. And one of the things that we've done that I'm enormously proud of is the company has published twice a year a transparency report. And this sets out every piece of technology that we use. It sets out our numbers, how much content we block, how many users we ban, how many users and content we report to law enforcement. And it's publicly available so that this plan can be copied by anyone. So I think at this point there really is no excuse for the Internet as a whole taking this issue very, very seriously. Does that mean you follow porn and follow the lead of the porn industry? Well, in this case, I think it absolutely does.
Soloman Friedman and Kim Kelley joining us in the program. And Kim, digitaldefendersunited.org, and we're talking about the ability for people to send in electronic service providers with cyber tip lines to report these people. Solomon, can you tell us how that works and how people can join in this effort to protect these children?
Yeah, I appreciate that question. There's a lot that we can do as parents, as families, to be proactive and safeguard our children at home. Because here's the thing, no matter how much tech is built, and we are working on building some things that comprehensively solve problems that are out there, solutions that don't currently exist to protect families on the home front in a more holistic way. But there's a lot that parents and families can do to help prevent children from experiencing this type of trauma. So that means being involved, that means being proactive, that means monitoring your child's online experiences. There's also so much that tech companies can do to be proactive. So here's really, for me, the main point in this whole discussion. PornHub has built and implemented the solution to digital safety and to eradicate child sex abuse material from the Internet. Now, that's massive. The world needs to understand that that is a solution that exists. And here's the main point. That means every other tech giant needs to follow suit. That means whether it's a family-friendly tech platform or a public site that anyone can upload content to, those tech giants have a responsibility to safeguard their platforms, to monitor their content. That's doable. It's already being done, ironically, by the adult entertainment industry. However, we, the people, need to be aware that that is a solvable problem, and we need to hold those other platforms accountable. To me, that's what it comes down to. This is a solvable problem. We need to understand the problem, but we also need to understand the solution exists, and it needs to be adapted by these other big companies.
Solomon, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I do, and it goes back to exactly what Kim was talking about empowering parents to protect their children. I think we all know that this is a joint effort. Tech companies have a role to play. Government has a role to play in regulation. Parents have a role to play as well. And one of the things I'm enormously proud of PornHub implementing is that when any site visitor anywhere in the world, including in the United States, visits PornHub for the first time, the first thing they see, and this is going to surprise a lot of people, the first thing they see is not porn, it's not explicit content, it is a pop-up showing parents how to block the site. I don't know if that's the same thing for people. Now, the business model of the site is to have visitors visit it. But our site, this company does not want any young people on its platform whatsoever, which is why the very first thing that you will see is a link to parental controls to equip parents with the ability. And, there's no referral fee here. There's no fee for service. It's just a link to all of the products that can be used at the device level, at the router level, at the internet service provider level, because this company wants absolutely no young people on the platform. And, that's an example of leading with your values, where instead of taking the visitor right to the content they came to see, it says, stop for a moment. First of all, if you're under 18, this isn't for you. And if you're a parent, here's how you block this site. In other words, this is a site that wants to be blocked when it comes to young people. And our hope is that the rest of the adult internet follows suit, but that the rest of the mainstream internet takes notice and says, we need to prioritize the safety of children online.
Soloman Friedman, keep up the great work, my friend. And please, folks, visit digitaldefendersunited.org and find out how you can help protect the children and help eradicate child sex material on the internet. And Kim Kelley, thank you so much. What you're doing and what Solomon's doing to help protect our children. Thank you, Kim, and thank you, Solomon.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much for your support.
Absolutely. It is an accident.